Hello loves, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about what the hell's going on. Okay. With everything that just happened with Roe versus Wade, it's important that we have a conversation of the spiritual consequences of this, and things that you should be aware of that I feel like does not get talked about enough. So we gotta talk about it. Okay, so first things first, this is some bullshit. That's one. Second of all, if you are a spiritual person that doesn't believe in either abortion or the right to choose, you're not pro-choice, I just wanted to just say one thing about that. The one thing that you should know about having the choice to, not have a child or not procreate is something that is emphasized by nature, because there's a lot of different animals that will end their own pregnancies, whether it be for the health of the cub or whatever animal it is. There's a lot of different times in nature where abortion is had, or straight up just like, nope, if I leave you alive, you're just going to end up dead because you don't have like your body's immune system's not right. Like the mothers within nature, within the animal kingdom, know what's up, and they're able to kind of make decisions in that way. And we just see them as, oh, animals, like, oh, look, but no, there is evidence in nature, which is, by the way, where the majority of all spiritual practices are based on nature, that shows you that, this is something that happens. The second thing that you should need to know, because this is something that really, really pisses me off, is that if abortion spiritually was a sin or something horrible, then why did nature create the plant medicine to stop that? Okay? Why? If we're just supposed to be out here, I get it. People with wombs we're the portal, we're the damn portal between worlds. We're the damn ones that bring human beings into this world. I get it. But nature has a solution to every single problem. Not everyone can bear children because there's complications, there's different things that happen. And as always, nature literally has a solution for like every freaking issue, including reproductive health, because it's part of plant medicine. It's part of different fruits. It's part of there's different things that can impact. And this is why there's certain times when you are like pregnant, there's certain things that you can't eat or overconsume of, because it can affect and it can literally like your child. Now, one of the things that I will say is, me as an herbalist, I'm not going to be giving out any recipes, concoctions, or even herbs that you should use as far as like reproductive health, because it's very dangerous to just be doing stuff on your own. I understand, there's a part of me that, me being native, I understand the need of using plant medicine, because obviously everything has been monetized. Medicine itself is monetized. Doctors have been replaced by, doulas and medicine people over time, over colonization. I 1000% get that, but it's not safe for me to just be like, oh, take papaya seeds, and then boom. It's not safe for you to do that, because not everybody, dosages is the proper way to do things. There's certain blends and certain things that need to be done, and I am not going to sit here and be on the internet and tell y'all to do that. I open anybody, and I will tell anybody to listen, do your research, study herbalism. This is a great time for you to study herbs and what they do, their properties, dosages, different ways to use them. Great time to do that work. Great time to educate yourself about nature. Okay. But it is very, very dangerous to there's certain complications that can happen to your body if you just take things, if you Google like herbs for abortion and you just take it, like mugwort, let me just drink some mugwort tea all of the time. That's dangerous, because you could get the dosage wrong. Your body could take it in a certain way. You can create complications. You could literally also not end up having a abortion, and then it turns into a whole nother problem because your child could be born with defects or something like that. So it's dangerous. Please be very, very careful when it comes to just throwing yourself into, yes, educate yourself. I'm not telling you don't educate yourself about the way that these plants work, but through colonization, you have to understand that indigenous people, both from Africa and natives from Turtle Island, from the American continent, Ben had recipes for this. Ben had herbal blends for this. Some of the knowledge is kept between in the tribes, and some of the knowledge has been lost from colonization. So there's certain things that are not going to be able to done correctly if you're trying to use herbs from the land and just kind of be like, oh, I Googled this, so it must work. It can be very dangerous. Be very careful. I ain't playing with y'all. Okay, don't come back here and be like, Abby told me to do this. I did not. Okay, do your research. Great time to learn about plant medicine. Great time to become an herbalist. Great time to do your homework. Not a great time to be out here doing things. Okay, not a great time to be doing that. When it comes to everything that's going on spiritually, one of the things that, you know, has been very widely talked about, and I was talking about this to one of my native cousins from the north on TikTok today, because they made a video talking about how, you know, there's been a ton of videos on TikTok talking about, oh, Hex the patriarchy and Hex XYZMB and Hex the government and all this stuff, and Hex the Supreme Court. There's been a lot of doxing that's been going on, which just, I'm straight giggling. At this point, I'm just laughing a lot at everything that's been happening. But when it comes to hexing the patriarchy, there are certain times, certain windows where certain things can work, and certain times where it's very much blocked. So y'all remember that spell that I did a while back to boost the energy to impeach Trump? I was only spiritually helping that come to pass, because it was already something that the people in the government that are in those buildings that are spiritually protected, because they hire spiritual people. They hire people from different practices to protect the buildings. There's different things in the buildings. There's different iconography, different statues, different things that are protected in the building itself. And I was having a whole conversation about this with one of my native cousins, and they were like, y'all over here trying to do these weird chime spells to hex the Supreme Court, but they're very protected. And it's true, they are very protected. They are very protected. One of the things I said was like, if you're going to try to hex them, and one of the things they said too was like, if we're going to try to hex them, it's going to have to be a collective effort, and it has to be a strategic to how we would enter the building spiritually in order to even do an attack or a hex or something like that. And one of the things I said is like, if I were doing it, I would be going underneath, I would be using the land, because I'm native. So being native, we have a relationship to the land. We are the land. So we're able to kind of spiritually navigate things within the land. So one of the things that I would do it, if I was going to do it, is to actually go underneath and come up from underneath the building in order to enter, because the building itself is very, very protected. So just keep that in mind. This is not a 7-day candle's not going to fix this. Not even a sacrifice is going to fix this, to be honest. They done learned from different revolutions, even in the Caribbean, because it is wildly known about how, for example, like Haitians used Haitian voodoo in order to win. Like, it's wildly known. Like, you don't think they learned? You don't think they have people hired? They do, babes, they do. Okay, don't underestimate, you know, the government. They have a lot of people protecting them, because if it was that easy, all of them would have a while back, because there's a lot of people who would be open to just throwing and stuff like that and sending like vibes and stuff like that to them. What I do recommend we do collectively, though, is do a collective return to sender, because this energy that they sent to us, this whole entire like thing that they did, this was literally an attack on all of us. And this is why we're feeling as heavy as we are collectively. For some people, your trauma, especially when it comes to oppression and the oppression of the matriarchy, has been very triggered ancestrally. Right now, if you've been feeling a lot of pain in your womb ever since this happened, or in your heart, your chest, this oppression is very ancestrally triggering. Okay, it's very ancestrally triggering. So best believe that there's a reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and you need to make sure you heal yourself, but you also need to send that energy back. I literally spent the past 2 days just doing energy cleansings on myself, because I just being an empath, and I almost kind of like, is it just me, or did you just hate it when people say, oh, I'm an empath? And it's just like, I hate it. Like, I understand because I am one, but I never call myself that, because it almost feels like mystical in an annoying way. I don't know if y'all gonna understand what I mean. Let me know in the comments if you know what I mean about what I just said. But sometimes it's just like, I'm an empath. I just feel like, it just feels like very romanticized. But no, I'm being serious. Like, I was feeling everybody's energy. Everybody's energy was so dense, and I felt all of that shit in my womb. It was almost like a DNA activation. And the fact that everything, like, they announced this on the last 666 day of the year, it was there's a whole entire thing spiritually as to why this happened. But this wasn't the only thing that they did. They were also rolling back, you know, Miranda rights, and really pay attention and look at everything else they want to roll over. What was it? Was it Justice Clarence? Was it Clarence who was like, wants to overturn gay marriage, you being able to do essential things in the privacy of your own home with someone who is not your opposite sex, and also contraception is on the line right now. Like, there's a lot of things that are just like, just that they want to look at. Hilariously though, Mr. Clarence, who is married to a woman, does not want to look at Loving versus Virginia, which is the decision that ruled over interracial couples. He doesn't want to look at that. He wants to look at all of the other things, but he doesn't want to look at that because it benefits him, right? A little mess that's happening right now. There's a lot of things, and things are going to get real chaotic. But this is going to be something that is going to lead to a lot of different things. My heart goes out to the women in those states that are that will pass from this, and that are going to be very emotionally are going through it right now. It's not easy. Please prioritize your self-care. It's super, super important to prioritize your self-care. But this is not something that is wrong, or like, as far as like when it comes to having abortions or having a choice to have an abortion or something like that, especially in today's world. Y'all have to understand, y'all, in like back in the day it was different because it's medical reasons, but through colonization, through the oppression of our wombs, of our literally just through the oppression of so many things, this is such an attack. It is such an attack to the matriarchy. It is such an attack to just this. One of the other things that we need to talk about is the fact that this whole entire thing is actually about white women. The entire thing. So, yeah, what was it? Yesterday, there was a rally, and one of Trump's lackeys, who's this woman, was like, thank you for, you know, saving or whatever white lives. Why? Because white people are not having kids as much as brown and black people are and indigenous people are. We are record to outnumber them by before, what was it, 2050 or something like that. And so Republicans are running scared and afraid and all of the stuff that they're going to be the minority. They don't want to be the minority, because if they're a minority, right? So they're basically scared to death right now. And so they want to force white women specifically to procreate, because that way the population will still be, you know, on a level. So they're trying to force specifically white women to procreate. This is not about BIPOC. They don't want us to procreate. They don't care. They already make sure that doctors, and the way that doctors are educated when it comes to like specifically black women with their own pain, they will not give them additional medication if they're trying to have a child, because they are taught that black women specifically and brown women, they have a higher pain tolerance, so they don't need additional medication, and they will refuse to give them medication when they're trying to give birth and stuff. It's crazy. Y'all need to look into this stuff, because it's crazy. It's crazy. So when I tell you they don't care about us, as far as they can give a rat's ass if we are, you know, giving birth or not. They'd rather we not, but they're specifically trying to push white women to give more birth, and so that way the population control stays in a certain way. And also, if one of the things that I've been saying for a minute, if you look at the trend with Gen Z and millennials, we are the one, this is an attack on our generations as well, because it's impacting our generations first. Because if you're of the previous generation before us, you're not necessarily having kids right now. You're not. Millennials are basically in their 30s, and everybody else is in Gen Z is in their 20s. So it's literally an attack on us. But specifically, if you're white with a uterus, that's the target audience, okay? That's literally the target audience. So be careful out here. Be careful out here, because literally Gen Z and millennials were like, okay, so we can't afford housing. We don't want to work 9 to 5. We don't want to do this whole retirement till whatever. We don't want to do none of the stuff that you guys are trying to pass down to us. We're like breaking down the cycles, and they're mad at us about it. So they're trying to use the legal system to attack our generations. And this is what I'm saying. Keep an eye out, be mindful, understand the larger purpose of a lot of these things, okay? Because there's a lot of things going on, and you're gonna need to stay alert of, you know, the things. Be very careful, be very mindful, prioritize your self-care, but also when it comes to your spiritual work right now, you should be doing protection work. And you should be in prayer. A lot of the way that the divine is set up right now spiritually, they're like, do you not trust us to take care of you? Like the messages that I've been getting spiritually is like certain things have to happen in order for change to occur. And it's like, this is what's going on right now. Democrats are trying to use this whole thing to like basically be like, oh, if you vote in November or whatever, like, oh, we can codify it, even though since Obama promised to codify it, and then he like literally pushed the thing and was like, oh, that's not a priority for me right now, and then didn't codify it. And same thing with Biden. He said he was gonna codify it, didn't codify it, and now here we are. So it is literally their fault, and they just keep using it as a talking point. People are getting real tired, and people are like asking, and we're having conversations about, if you look at my TikTok, all I've been talking about is land back. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you're over the United States system, just give the land back to natives. You want to know why? Because natives, generally speaking, collectively, I know that there's some that have collective trauma because of the US when it comes to like LGBT and stuff like that. So some of them do not recognize, there are some tribes that don't recognize it, but it's not the majority of them, because natives also have two-spirit individuals, and they have LGBT members of their tribe as well, throughout different tribes across, you know, the United States. But I'd rather give my trust to tribes to do the right thing and stand by the people, which is what ultimately their communities are designed to do, is to stand by the people, listen to the people, do what's right for the people, do what's right for the planet. If natives had the land, they literally would just be taking care of the land. Climate change would be something that would be a lot easier for us to navigate too, because the land would be taken care of. The United States only cares about exploiting the land, exploiting us, and feeding us all this toxic stuff. If we give the native back the land will be taken care of. We'll be eating a lot better. Things will just be a lot better. We wouldn't have to be doing stuff like paying for rent and paying for, you know, just basic things that are supposed to be human rights, like things that we're supposed to know that we are supposed to have. Like, this is the one thing about tribal communities, is that if you look into indigenous cultures and around the world, there's protocols for everything. We know we have to hunt, or we need to do stuff to feed ourselves. We know that we need to be protected. We know we need to have medicine people. We know we need to have certain aspects of our community. Our spirituality is very important to us. Like, everything is just it's a make and make sense thing. It's literally a make and make sense thing. So I've been telling people, like, you want to piss off the US government? Stop voting Democrat. Stop voting, period. Just start giving land back to natives and watch how quickly, I swear to all that is holy, if people started to give back the land back to natives, like if you own lands, because that's the thing about it, Anybody who owns land in the United States can just give land back to natives. That is not illegal or anything like that. It actually expands those tribes. And the more land they have tribal governments and everything like that. So they'll be able to have more influence and take care of the land properly. And so if we just prioritize the land back movement and just gave the land back to the tribes, this land would be way better off. The people would be way better off, because a lot of things will be dismantled. The system that was built on white supremacy would be dismantled because it would be a tribal system. Tribal systems are literally so different, and they're made by and for the people. It is a community effort. It is not a, oh, you got to take care of your own stuff thing, which is what colonialism did. It literally it separated all of us from each other, and it said, you got to deal with that. You got to get a job. You got to pay for your own stuff. You got to do all of that. You got to do it. You figure it out. In tribal systems, everybody just takes care of each other. It's a take care. Okay, what do you need? Oh, you need medicine. Oh, you need to go to the doctor. Oh, you need to... Everybody just takes care of each other, because that's what a community does. You maintain the community. It's not hard. It's not difficult. But for some reason, the U.S. government has such a hard time understanding the concept of actually working for the people. They just lag around, and they do random stuff that pisses us off, and then we're supposed to all rally behind them and just like, I'm tired. I'm straight tired. I'm just really tired. So I do think, especially if someone is of privilege and they have lands, give it back to the natives. If there's a movement to start giving land back to the natives, the U.S. government will literally flip a switch real quick. The other thing that I think that, people with uridices should start doing is to, one, stop spending money. We are the highest in, I don't want to say overconsumption, but in consumption. We are the ones who buy the most stuff in the United States, okay? I'm saying do not buy nothing, leave them dry. Target's already struggling. There's so many different places that are like, oh, we're not getting enough people coming in, because the rent's going up, because different things are going up, and it's like you want everybody to just pull money out of their ass and start just paying for things. It's weird. It's really weird. I'm telling you, if we all rally together and we're like, no, we're not doing this, this whole situation would flip on its head real quick. They really don't understand how the anger in the nation is about to literally have a lot of consequences, but we're gonna let them find out the hard way. But I'm down for the land back movement. Let the land go back to the natives. Let the tribes have the land back. I'm tired of this government. The other thing that you will see on social media a lot is people saying like, oh, empires usually last 250 years, and the United States is on its, 293, 292? No, 250 years. So United States is on 243 or 242. There's like 3 years left before technically the US government, the empire itself, just completely collapses. And I don't know why pissing off people with uteruses was a smart idea. We are a huge part of this country. We have different ethnicities, different people all throughout. Like, why would you want to, why? But of course it has to be white supremacy. Of course it has to be this nonsense. So here we are. Stay safe. Transmute the energy. There's a good time to work with water to transmute the energy and really like release a lot of tension that you're having. Make sure you take your spiritual baths at the beginning of the month. It's coming anyway. Take care of yourself. You might be taking more spiritual baths than usual. Please take care of yourselves. Please be safe out in these streets. But just work spiritually to transmute the energy. It's a great time to focus on your spiritual education. Great time to learn about herbalism. Great time to train yourself on different things. Great time to look into different topics. And make sure you prioritize your self-care. I cannot stress that enough. We're gonna be doing daily videos now, so stay tuned for all of that. It was supposed to start on, Thursday, but everything went down and I was just like, I had to kind of take care of my own energies. So yeah, I had to take a minute, but there's gonna be daily videos now, so stay tuned for all the videos and all of the things. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you for all of the love, support. We're almost at 12,000, which I'm so excited about. So definitely make sure if you're new here, you subscribe. And yeah, don't forget to check out the Patreon. I love you guys so much. Have a blessed day.